Good afternoon to viewers and those in the physical space of this press conference this afternoon. We are happy to welcome you, but as we are people of God, we are going to bow our heads for a moment to acknowledge His goodness to us. Let us pray. Gracious God and loving Father, we thank you, God, for bringing us to this moment. Father, we thank you that we live in a land where we can enjoy freedom and democracy. And so, God, as an opposition party, we've come this afternoon to present our message with the hope, Lord, that they would fall on ears that are receptive. We pray, God, that the presence of your Holy Spirit this afternoon will envelope us in this room, God, so that as we speak our truth, our words will reach ears that are longing to hear messages of hope and messages, oh God, that would bring us closer together as a people. And so, Lord, we thank you for this privilege. And we thank you for the brave men and women in our party, God, who have put themselves before the people, God. And so, Lord, we ask a special blessing upon the candidates, those who have been named and those who are to be named. Father, may you inspire them on their journey to convince those people who would eventually select them. May they speak their truth, and may they speak their truth in love, God. We thank you for our party, the People's Action Movement. We ask that you bless us all, today and always. And we pray these mercies in your name, the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. Again, I wish to welcome everyone to this, our press conference. I want to acknowledge the members of the head table. In the center, not quite the center, but on the left of our deputy political leader, Azad Gomes, is our political leader, Mrs. Natasha Gribrooks. She is graced this afternoon by all men, but not for long. On her immediate, right is deputy political leader and candidate for number 4, Mr. Azad Gomes. Of course, our party has 2 deputy political leaders. We know the song, a deputy. Deputies are essential in our party. And so on Mrs. Gribrooks' left is our 2nd deputy political leader, Mr. Pell, Mr. Lincoln Pell. And on my immediate left is Mr. Nubian Greer, the candidate named for constituency number 2. Of course, my name is Laverne Keynes, and I'm the Public Relations Officer of our great party, the People's Action Movement, a party which celebrated its 61st year of existence in January this year. We thank you for joining us this afternoon, those who are able to join us physically and those who are with us online. We know that a lot of excitement has been created, and so we know that people are actually waiting with bated breath to hear who will be announced this afternoon as our main candidate. I also want to acknowledge my favorite Sandy Pointer, Dr. Sean Richards, the People's Action Movement's sole parliamentarian, and he is joining us virtually. I'm sure you're seeing him on your screen, or we will pick him up shortly. Of course, Dr. Richards is one of our longest-serving parliamentarians in the People's Action Movement, and so we are happy for his presence virtually and otherwise. So thank you, Dr. Sean. Could you give us a little smile and a wave? Thank you, thank you. So this afternoon, although we are here to focus on one main matter, of course, in politics, there is no main matter when the media is in the room. And so we also want to acknowledge the presence of the media and to let them know that inasmuch as this press conference was called primarily to announce publicly who the candidate for the People's Action Movement will be in constituency number 8, we want to tell you that you're not necessarily restricted to asking questions about the new candidate or the candidates that have already been announced. And we know you don't need any reminder because the world of politics is dynamic, and so you are obviously free to ask whatever you think you need to ask our candidates and our political leader later on in these proceedings. So without much further ado, again, I want to welcome you and thank you. Please share the live for those of you who are listening and viewing online. Sometimes people prefer to see things in person and not be told or see it secondhand or after the fact. So we want you, if you're online already, to share the live. Call your neighbor, make a little party out of it. I mean, this is a celebratory moment for us in the People's Action Movement today. So call your neighbors, call your friends. If you're still at work and you have to listen privately, don't shout too much when you hear the good news. Temper your excitement for now. And let's just all come together in support of the announcement that would be made shortly. So again, welcome all. And thank you for joining us. I will now turn over to political leader, Mrs. Gwebrooks, who will present a few remarks.
Thank you, Madam PRO. Good afternoon to the members of the media, executive members of the People's Action Movement, fellow panelists, not for long, my fellow citizens and residents here in the room, and the thousands more watching and listening across our federation. A special good afternoon to the hard-working people of constituency number 8. We stand today at a defining crossroads for our nation. For too long, the conversations surrounding our future have been clouded by the shadows of the past. We have seen a system that consistently fails the very people it was designed to protect. We have seen leadership that has traded its integrity for interest, leaving our citizens to wonder who they can truly trust when the doors of power are closed. Our country cannot survive another term of this. We cannot afford to endure more of a system that overlooks the struggles of the single mothers in East Bastille, St. Peter's, St. Mary's, or Sandy Point. We cannot afford leadership that treats public service as a private benefit. The soul of our nation is crying out for a different path. It is crying out for a team that is not just a new face, but new in spirit. A team entirely free from the tainted leadership that has held us back for far too long. I am here today with a clear and unwavering mission. It is time to grace Church Street with dignity. Dignity is not just a word, it is a standard. It is the commitment to show up for the people of this country with clean hands, a clear conscience, and a heart for service. It means making decisions based on the next generation, not the next election. As we look forward to the future of our federation, I am building a team that reflects this standard. I am surrounding myself with individuals of unshakable character, men and women who have already proven their worth through their work, their honesty, and their dedication to our community. Just a few days ago, our nation observed Labor Day, a day that should be a celebration of the strength and spirit of the Kittitian and Nivisian worker. But let's be honest about the reality behind that holiday. For the majority of our people, there was very little to celebrate. While this Labour administration marches and makes promises, the reality in your homes is much different. You are struggling under the weight of a system that has failed you. You are feeling the squeeze of bad fiscal management that has seen our national debt climb with your disposable income disappearing. You are witnessing an incompetence that has allowed our essential services, from water to healthcare, to falter, while the cost of living reaches record highs. Our country truly cannot survive another term of this. I am proud to stand alongside Dr. Sean Richards, a man whose career has been defined by his commitment to the people. From his years as Deputy Prime Minister to his tireless work in education and youth, Sean has consistently delivered, whether it was modernizing our schools or advocating for the small business owners and vendors who are the heartbeat of our economy. His experience is the steady hand we need to ensure our national development stays on track. I am joined by Deputy Political Leader Azad Gums, a legal mind of the highest caliber, who has dedicated his career to justice and institutional integrity. From his service as Crown Counsel to his work ensuring the transparency of our national registries and our ports, Azad understands the mechanics of a fair system. He's here to help us dismantle the old way of doing business and replace it with a system where the law applies equally to all. Mr. Nubian Greer, our candidate for constituency number 2, he brings a fierce, untainted energy to our community advocacy. Nubian has been on the front lines, championing the rights of the vulnerable and ensuring that our social programs actually reach the doorsteps of those in need. His work in grassroots organizing has shown that true leadership isn't found in an office, but in the streets, serving the people. Mr. Lincoln David Pell and Mr. Troy Flanders, they have been fighting the good fight for the people of constituencies number 6 and 7 respectively, not just in the field of food security and national security, but standing in the gap for our good people and the struggles that they face every day. Together, we are building a movement that reflects the best of us. The team is ready to work for you. I am here today because leadership is not a trophy to be displayed on the world stage. It is a sacred contract with the people who live in the houses on our streets. For almost 4 years, you have been represented by a Prime Minister who is more interested in his international silhouette than the local reality of the people who put him in office. Dr. Drew has failed you, and he has failed you with a consistency that is nothing short of an insult to our intelligence. From Keyon to Connery, from Kitts to Half Moon, and St. Peter's to Keys and Canada, Dr. Drew's tenure has been a masterclass in neglect. In Keyon, I am reliably informed that you see the minister only when the cameras are rolling, while some taps still run dry and your basic infrastructure crumbles. In St. Peter's, a community brimming with potential, yet strangled by a lack of vision, the youth have no centers and the workers have no champions. In Connery and Keys, these areas have been treated as afterthoughts, receiving the crumbs of the national budget while the minister prioritizes high-altitude politics over ground-level progress. He has proven he can fly to foreign capitals, but he cannot seem to walk through his own constituency to see the struggles you face every day, except for a photo op. There comes a time in the life of every nation when the echoes of empty promises must be met with the thunder of the truth. We stand today at that crossroad. Leadership is not found in the luxury of a jet or the prestige of a podium in a foreign capital. It is found in the grit of our communities and the eyes of our children. Dr. Drew has proven he can manage a cabinet of convenience, but he has failed to manage the crises of his own constituents. He is a leader of elsewhere, while you are the people of here. As leader of the People's Action Movement, I have recognized that the strength of a movement is measured not just by its destination, but by the integrity of the path it takes to get there. When the vacancy for the seat of constituency number 8, following the transition from Chesley Hamilton, we knew that the shoes to fill were significant, and the responsibility to this constituency was even greater. I did not retreat into a boardroom to handpick a successor behind closed doors. Instead, we opened the doors wide to the democratic spirit that defines us. I engaged constituents from every area, got their views, and carried out a number of interviews. Our internal process was as exhaustive as it was transparent. A number of highly qualified, dedicated individuals were interviewed and carefully considered for this mantle. We looked for more than just a name. We looked for a track record of service and a heart for the people. We sought a leader who understands the unique challenges of every corner of constituency number 8, from the heights of St. Peter's to the shores of Connery. The applicants were tested on their vision, their technical expertise, and their commitment to the better community we have promised. Through this rigorous process, one individual did more than just qualify. That individual emerged victorious. The successful candidate stood out not because of political connections, but because of a life that has been a long-form interview with the public she serves. With nearly 30 years in education and her senior leadership as Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, her qualifications were undeniable. Most importantly, she was not forced upon you. She was chosen by the people, for the people. She represents the bridge between the professional excellence of the civil service and the grassroots heartbeat of the Anglican Church and our local neighborhoods. We move forward today with a candidate who didn't just win the selection process, she won the trust of those who know her best. We are moving forward with togetherness, with clarity, and with a candidate who is ready to lead from day one. I am happy that I do not stand before you alone. A true movement is not built on a single name, but on a foundation of proven integrity. Today, I am proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with a woman who is the living embodiment of the tried and tested. My sister in service, my namesake, Natasha Daniel. Natasha is not a product of political pageantry. She is a product of the soil and the schoolroom. She is a career civil servant who has spent over 20 decades ensuring the machinery of this country works for you, even when the leadership at the top was asleep. A champion of our future. As the former head of science at Bastia High School and Sadler's Secondary, she didn't just teach. She molded the minds that will lead this federation. A guardian of our soil. She worked in the Ministry of Agriculture. She understands that food security is the first line of national defense. She knows that a community that cannot feed itself cannot free itself. A woman of faith and action. From the vestry of St. Mary's Anglican Church to the Meals on Wheels containers she personally prepared, she has lived a life of hands-on advocacy. Natasha Daniel was not handpicked by a clique. She was forged in the heart of this community. She went through a process of the people, by the people, and for the people. She doesn't need a briefing note to understand the struggle of St. Mary's Terrace because she lives there. While others offer you potential, we offer you provenance. While others offer you optics, we offer you outcomes. The era of the absentee representative is coming to a close. Today, we begin a new chapter where your representative actually knows your name, your struggles, and your worth. It is time for a representative who continues to work for the people. She didn't decide to run because she wanted a new title. She has already been doing the work, tried and tested. While Dr. Drew was learning how to navigate political optics, Natasha was learning how to manage departments, budgets, and the futures of our children. While he was focused on his own ascent, Natasha was focused on the advancement of knowledge and the productivity of our citizens. Natasha Daniel is the only alternative because she will be the only candidate who actually lives your reality. She is not coming from the Prime Minister's office to tell you what you need. She is coming from St. Mary's Terrace to take your voice to the floor of Parliament. St. Christopher number 8, the choice is clear. It is time to replace the shadow of neglect with the light of a better community. Join us. Let us build this future together with Natasha. Constituency number 8, I present to you Ms. Natasha Daniel, the woman who will make history and unseat one-term Prime Minister Drew.
Thank you, political leader. So now we not only have 2 female candidates in PAM, but we have 2 Natashas. We have Natasha squared. But before we give Natasha a moment to respond, I just want to remind us about the groundbreaking feat that this party, this People's Action Movement, has achieved in the past. In 1971 is how many years ago? Anybody can, I'm not going to do math publicly and get embarrassed. I'm seeing too many embarrassing calculations in public. 55 years. 55 years ago, in 1971, PAM fielded its first female candidate, Mary Charles George. 51 years ago, when women in not only St. Kitts but across the Caribbean were just perhaps domestic workers, hardly got any recognition in the workplace. But PAM had the vision in 1971 to field a female candidate. We didn't stop there. Then came Dame Constance Mitchum. Of course, we know her earth-shattering feats. When you talk about children who can now add their father's name to their birth certificate, we think about Dame Constance. When we think about women who are paid for maternity leave, we think about Dame Constance. So we have seen what women can do in politics. Women are nurturers. Women can make miracles. Have you ever seen a mother with nothing to eat? 6 children to feed, and she will get up. She only needs some flour, and the whole household will be fed, just with some flour. And I truly believe that it is time for us in St. Kitts and Nevis, and perhaps the wider Caribbean, to give more female a chance in politics. And then there was John L. Rawlings, who ran against the then Prime Minister. In 2020, entered our now political leader, Natasha Gray Brooks, and now our fifth woman in politics. And incidentally, this would be the only time when there's a party that is running 2 female candidates. Well, I'm subject to correction, but I do believe that I'm correct. So I'm saying that this is a party which is unafraid to place women in high public office. And so we are very grateful that our party is leading this charge in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's not enough, because there needs to be more women in politics. But we believe that this is a lot of inspiration that we're going to provide to women across St. Kitts and Nevis. And I believe that something great is going to happen. If you believe me, say yes. Yes. Thank you very much. And with that, I want to hear now from the newest political candidate perhaps in the world, our Natasha Daniel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to thank everybody for the warm welcome. My colleagues, political leader, Mrs. Natasha Gray Brooks, deputy political leader, Mr. Azad Gums, and Mr. David Pelt, deputy political leader, Mr. Nubian, great. My colleague in farming, Mr. Troy Flanders, and Dr. Sean Richards, to the media and all of the special guests who are here, the wider diaspora, I want to thank you so much. And to my family, Keisha, thank you. Yes, I was told to have a 7 minutes speech about myself. So where could I start? So I'm going to start with a song from Jimmy Cliff. It's called Roots Woman. Permit me to, yes, K-On Roots. Permit me to say a few lines from this song, because I think that, and I know that in my heart, this song defines me. Don't mind my glasses. I'll take them off when I'm done reading, but they're not shades, they're glasses because of the lights. Jimmy Cliff penned the lyrics, Roots Woman, which defines the person that Natasha Daniel is today. Permit me to read a few lines of the song. Roots woman, roots woman. She's a roots woman. It's the truth woman. And she turns me on. No, she don't worship diamonds. She don't worship silver. She don't worship pearls. And she doesn't worship gold. She will cook that country porridge. You see, love is her foundation ever since creation. And I have shown so much love to my babies, all of my children. Alexis is one right here. And so they know that Miss Daniel does everything with love. Today, I stand before you as a true and proud roots woman of K-On. I grew up today, Mr. Coker, Austin Coker. I am a proud and true roots woman of K-On. I grew up in Downs Cottage, K-On, as a tomboy. And as Clifford Pemberton would say, that's an open secret. Wherever a ring was, Tasha was there, pitching marbles, and was dubbed the name Marble Girl by Shane Wee Wee Hodge. I can recall many games with Fidel, Rockerman, Gagai, Skinny Guy, and even Roy McCoy. When he ran out of marbles, he would come on Cuckoo Hill, and he would say, Tasha, bring the pan of marble. We are going across to Waterworks Alley. And I would accompany him and stay and watch the big guys playing the marbles. My parents, Michael, Mikey Roberts, Sonia Daniel, and Mama Bertha, hailing from Butler's Nevis, are the three pillars who taught me about the importance of respect, hard work, service, and humility. Mama Bertha brought us up on one of her many trades, making sugar cakes and patch nuts. She instilled in me the manners, that manners took you around the world and not money. She was a strict disciplinarian and made sure I was properly trained. Mama took me to church and sent me to every Sunday school, making sure I had a strong foundation in the principles and moral values of the church and to be God-fearing. She also taught me to never begrudge anybody for what they have, because you did not know or you do not know where they got it from. These teachings and many more I have bound around my neck and kept it close to my heart. My father not only taught me the importance of hard work, but that there was no shame in any type of work that you did. Our father, which is what I call him, made us pick up cane from the top of Lodge Project all the way down to the estate yard. During holidays, we would find ourselves in the Naco Jeep heading to Canada, where Bassie has his mechanic and tire shop right now, with Cleaver and Jude Matthew to shoot pigs. Everybody heading to the beach to have fun, while we were heading back to Lodge with 2 big black pigs draining blood out of the Jeep, and our friends are passing. Sometimes we were so ashamed, but after a while we got accustomed. Father taught us there was nothing to be ashamed of, and he instilled humility in us. The worst was gathering pig mangoes. Sandfly can't done. Sometimes I catch myself and I say, Lord, our Father too wicked. It is because of my father why I fell in love with agriculture and education. I always wanted to be like my father. He was everything to me. And so when I look back, I say, my father was preparing me for a time such as this. My mother, Sonia Daniel, she was a single parent who worked in the cane field. Easter time, mother would take us with her, and as small as I was, I tried taking the machete to help my mother. I could recall Vincia's mother, Jasmine, as a water woman, Noah Hart, Fenella, Ronica, Stephanie, Princess, to name a few, cutting the cane while Mr. Bridge drove the grabber collecting the canes. My mother would then cool off and then head to her second job at Jacta to make sure we had what we need. She taught me how to serve. I can hear her saying, Tasha, come carry Auntie Enid food. Queen, Nene, Elva Wyatt, Mr. Simon, Pearline, Miss Huggins, Miss Paul. I was the Uber back then because I was the P2 Uber. I wish there was Uber back then, but I was the P2 Uber. Mother sent me to clean every old person's house, go overseas to look after family members who were sick. Wherever she could help, she did, and Tasha was the one that she would send. I can say so much more, but it is because of the upbringing why I serve my students, church, and community so well. She set an example that cannot be eroded, and that is why I stand here today, willing and ready to serve my constituents and the wider diaspora. I am not here for the likes. They like you today, and they hate you today. I am not here for the lights. They get dim or a total blackout. I am not here for power. It belongs to God. I am not here for money. I can't take it to hell or heaven. Both the devil and God are vying for our souls. I am here for the love of the people, especially the poor. What you see is what you get. Real, no faking. And that is why I have earned the respect, trust, and love of the people I have had the opportunity to touch and make a difference in their lives. I could recall Mrs. Carlin Morton coming to me one day saying, Miss Daniel, Dario came home and said, Mommy, you know Miss Daniel told us you used to tutu in the cane field? He could not believe people did that. I must relate this story about Joycelyn Pemberton, my student in number 6. Joycelyn was a student who refused to come to school. And one day coming from Sandy Point, SP where the best be. Yes, doctor, that's right. And I happened on Joycelyn. And I said, so stop here. Stop here. And I said, I ain't tell you come school, girl. She saw me and she dashed through an alley. Well, I don't know where I'm going, so I dashed through the alley too. You know? And so when I banked the corner, because I saw a bank corner, I flipped over and I fell. She dropped back. She said, Miss Daniel, Lord, Miss Daniel. She went back and she held me. Somebody cut off some bananas and they left the stem. And I took it and I gave her some. And I walked out the alley as if I was strong. Joycelyn returned to school the next day. Miss Daniel did not. My knees were bust out. All of my toes was glued off. I could not walk. Dr. Crawford had to come and look after me, but she came back. And now Joycelyn has 4 subjects. And I know I can feel good because I would do it again so that Joycelyn could get a job and to help her mother, because those students in number 6, those are my babies. I work the hardest on them. And so I just wanted to share this, that I don't give up. I fight. Because I want the best for my children. I want the best for my village. I want the best for my single mothers like Sherry Jeffers who are struggling. I want the best for every single one of my constituents, from Otleys right up to St. Peter's. And I'm going to do my very best. I have always fought for the oppressed, for the poor, for the downtrodden, for the underdog, because I always want the best. Today, I stand with the People's Action Movement because of the philosophy and pillars that the party over the years have crafted. For example, driving economic growth and development, social services, which have touched the lives of many of our citizens. For example, one thing that I love to do is to sit and listen to the older heads passing knowledge and history of some of the achievements of the PAM government. One such discussion was on the political aspect, where Uncle Mervyn Williams shared this. He said, at the time, voting was at 21, and 21 years to be registered at 21. And it was every 2 or 3 years. So if you missed that chance, you had to wait another 2 or 3 years before you were able to register. But when PAM came in, PAM reduced it to 18, and anybody could go and register at any time. We must know our history. Bob Marley reminds us in his song, Buffalo Soldier. If you know your history, then you would know where you're coming from and where you're going. I thank you.
She's a roots woman, it's the truth woman, and you turn me on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Natasha. We have a live wire, Natasha, don't we? I think that is just what the doctor ordered. And if I can use just 2 words to sum up what she just read, I would call her a servant leader. That is exactly what our politics need. We need servant leaders. We don't need demigods. We don't need people who went into government, could barely pay the rent, and after 2 years, you hear how many properties they have around the world. We need servant leaders. And I'm so happy that Natasha was chosen by the people to be the candidate for number 8. Somebody's shaking in the boots now. In fact, when people began to speculate over the last few days about who it was going to be, you saw it. I've seen some posts where people began to get a little coward already. And you know that they know that this is a formidable competitor. Natasha Daniel is a formidable competitor. Let me tell you, I love teachers, and I always say that a teacher remains a teacher even after they retire, down to their death. And when you can count the number of people whose minds you have helped, whose very essence came from your contribution in the classroom, you really have a ready-made audience of voters. And I believe every one of those students who Natasha has taught will come out to support her on the day. So I feel a sense of confidence, and I want us to rally behind Natasha. I just believe that there's going to be some serious shaking up. And I want us to work with our candidates. I had a conversation with Natasha not too long ago, and she was saying, I guess when people started to believe and heard that she was going to run, they were contacting her about changing their constituency. And she told them, no, stay where you are and vote for PAM. Right? So her influence really is going to have a multiplier effect around the 8 constituencies in this island. And I really feel that we're onto something big. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you. I want now to invite the media. We have a microphone at the back of the room, just next to Troy Biff Mills, who himself is also media personnel. Welcome, Troy. And if there's any question you want to ask, I want you to proceed to the microphone, state your name and the media house that you're representing, and ask your question, if you will. I see Mr. Bat is heading to the microphone to be the first.
Good afternoon, Glenn Bart from Television Caribbean, TVC Channel 40. I want to congratulate Natasha Daniel on being selected to be the candidate for constituency number 8. I also want to ask you this question. I know it's very early in your political career, but living in Keon in constituency number 8 area, you must have noticed what needs to be done. What are some of the critical things that need to be done in your constituency? I want to get an idea from you what it is that you want to bring to the people of your constituency in terms of the tangible stuff and the non-tangible indicators. Just give us a background, a little feeling as to where you're coming from.
Yes. Okay. Now, everybody knows Keon has always had a problem with water. always. I myself could recall that from a young age, we would have to head water either from bracket to guinea grass or guinea grass to bracket. So the upper Kayon and the lower Kayon. So that is one of the critical areas that we will have to work on. Yes, there's a well that was constructed recently by Beads and others. That was something that was also on the unity concept because I know of it. So that is one of the areas that I know I would have to work on, as well as when they have accidents and the road is blocked off in Kayon, we will have to walk up Spooners. So that is one of the areas that people have been talking about to get fixed and to make that wider so 2 vehicles can pass. So that's another area. There are several areas where, for example, Kayon High School, I made 50 years on the 25th of April, and students are still out there in the sun, keeping assembly. That should not be. So that is one of the areas that I would love to fix. The building there, which is maybe older than my mother, when you walk, you run, it shakes. That's a 3rd form building. And so these are areas that I would love to fix. Other things like single mothers, as I spoke, I would want to touch that. I want to make the lives of the people in the community more comfortable. And so I would rally for single parents. I would rally for social services to assist more. Because some persons, when they go there, turn back. And they're upset. And they come and they complain, because they decide, hey, the person's up there going on like the money is theirs, the vouchers are theirs, the uniforms are theirs, etc. So we have to get that done because I find that people love to not know what is happening, but say, she got money, this, that. They don't know the expense. And even in terms of medical, we need all of that. We have persons who are in need of assistance with their children, like persons who have Down syndrome, like Sykes and Ulika, so these are things that we could help more with. Because when you touch lives, you're able to develop your country. And my baby, which is agriculture, it's been wasted away. Nobody knows what they're doing. I could say that because I've worked there and I'm on pre-retirement, and no one knows what they're doing in agriculture. And that is one of the sectors that I would like to make an impact in. You don't have food security, you don't have healthy foods, then you have a population that is unhealthy. If the population is unhealthy, that means there is more money spending in the health sector, which if you have safe and available foods, then that would cut the costs. So we have to start in primary school. So these are areas where you find children, young children have diabetes and those things. That should not be. So let's start pumping into agriculture, local agriculture. You have to start at home. Mother always told me and Tishi, charity begins at home. And so we need to seriously take a look into the agriculture sector. I could recall that the former prime minister, one of the former prime minister, said that agriculture is an expensive hobby. So let's not, go there and say, let's prove him wrong. It is not an expensive hobby. We could do better. And when you know better, you do better.
Good afternoon, folks. Troy Biff Mills from WinFM 98.9. Congratulations, Miss Daniel, on the Azul Kayon football Rockets making it into the semifinals, the Final Four, and perhaps a step into the finals against Moultraville Farms, Clean Rights United, Old Road Jets. So that's going to be an interesting battle. There was a point, excuse me, that you may have felt that I'm interested in this politics thing. Also, there may have been a point when somebody said, hey, I think you make a good candidate. Could you walk us through from those points until where you are today? And do I get a second question at this point? From what you're saying, I suspect that you'll try to convince your leader as Prime Minister that you'll want to be the Minister of Agriculture. Are there other ministries, or what other ministries will you try to convince her that you will want to take on as the minister? Thank you.
Okay, the first question, let's see. 3 of them. 1, my father ran in number 7, in constituency 7, Mikey Roberts. And as I said in my presentation, I always wanted to be like my father. So I think that I should finish it off and finish it well. The people of Keon, who is dear to my heart, and who knows me well, that Tasha is a people's person. There is nobody that Tasha doesn't speak to, assist, encourage, help. And they said, we need Tasha. And I can't pass in the road and they don't say, Tasha, when are you going? Why are you afraid? Let's go. We have you. And those things. And I would just be like smiling, as usual. I can't help smiling. I'm my father's child. And then I said, okay, give it a thought, sleep on it. And so I said, let me just do what the people are asking. If they want me, I am going to go. There must be a need that they want, and they see in me that I could do what they ask me, what they think that I could do. Just like the students in Keon High School who had no clothing and textile teacher. And Miss Danielle and Mr. Richards would know that I came to the education office. And I said, you're going to see my face in Sandy Point. And I hired 2 teachers, and they wanted the students, 9 students, to be taken out of the clothing and textile. And I said, not on my watch. My niece is in there. She wants to become a fashion designer. And Tissy is now in fashion design school, having her degree. So I'm always fighting. And would come from Sadler Secondary, go to Keon High School, stay down there with Faith Benjamin and Miss Hughes, and let the children, get their lessons. And all 9 of them pass. So I'm a fighter, as I said before, for people's children. So that is why, And then the ministries, well, agriculture, education. When I left teaching, I cried. I didn't want to leave, but I left because of circumstances. It was either my peace of mind or, my little sister Judy would say, across by the prison. But no, I left. So education would be 1. The church, I love my church. I do preach. I've stepped down a bit, but I could go back anytime. Father, Reverend Tando is waiting for me to step back up. Social services. My heart goes out to old people. I wish Mama was here. And so I want to look after the old people. You don't have to look for me. I'll come look for you. Because every time I see an old person, I see Mama. And so those are some of the areas social services will help people. My mother called me the police because I'm strict. And my students will tell you, but I'm strict with love. But when you see me from now on the street, call me the help.
I'd like to ask the leader of the People's Action Movement to, thank you. talk to us about the development of the country. You have made some critical remarks here this afternoon, and obviously PAM has a different vision as to where the country needs to go. I'd like you to talk a little bit more about that. To Mr. Nubian Griot, two things. One is the whole marijuana development matter. Where do you want to see this industry to go? Is government dragging its feet? Is it getting sidelined with other issues? Do you believe that they are committed to developing the industry, or do you think that it is just a lot of talk? They have established the secretariat. They have a number of guidelines, but people are saying, why is it taking so long? So I'd like you to comment on that and give us your views about the marijuana industry.
Thank you, Mr. Bad. We'll allow the political leader to go first.
Thank you, Madam PRO, and thank you, Mr. Bat, for your question. Now, if anyone is honest with themselves, our country is going through a difficult situation. And it's not so much to say because we are in opposition, we are just criticizing. It is the reality. Our economy needs some improving. We need to see more entrepreneurs. We need more investment in our youth. A number of youth have graduated, and they are looking for what's our next step. How do I become bankable? How do I become attractive? How does my project come something that can enhance St. Kitts and Nevis? And I think that they have been denied that opportunity. In terms of poverty, yes, we know that there are external shock factors that would change certain things, but I don't think that this administration has done enough to help to soften the blow for our people. There is too much government wastage, not just in the travel, but in some of our government buildings. We pay thousands of dollars every month for rent. That could be pumped into our people who need help. And so we need to do a little bit more to help the vulnerable. We need to do a little bit more, and PAM will ensure that those people who need help will get it. Those people who have ideas will be given the opportunities to be able to enhance themselves. Now, our systems that we have in terms of going through government offices is a bit of a deterrence for some persons. The wait time, the lot of red tape that you have to go through, and we don't even know what's going on sometimes with our capital projects. Simple things, you just hear announcements being made and no information being given leading up to the announcement. And there must be a continuous dialogue with our people. And that is something that under my watch, the People's Action Movement will ensure that the people who put us there are informed every step of the way. I can recall last election in East Bastia, one of the things that I looked at was community councils, because many times you hear constituents saying you only see the politicians when elections are coming. And, well, that doesn't apply to me because I've been on the road ever since. But I'm saying, not just in East Bastia, I want to see community councils throughout. Natasha has one of the biggest constituencies. Not this Natasha Daniel. She has one of the biggest constituencies. And so she must have ears on the ground in St. Peter's, in Connery, in Canada, everywhere, so that when she is in Keon today, she knows what is happening in Otleys. She knows what is happening in St. Peter's. The same thing with Mr. Gums. I want him to know what is happening, so we must establish a policy that there are community councils to keep quarterly or biannually meetings so that the representatives are informed and they can make sure that they not only become a minister, but they remain a true representative of the people. And that is what the People's Action Movement is offering: representation for all and all the time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and allow me to also congratulate Ms. Daniel, being a part of the team. Welcome. And to answer your question, Mr. Bart, cannabis. Cannabis is something in the past that recently that most political parties seem as though they use to entice persons or young people to come on board, and they just kick the can down the road. We have heard a lot of talk, we have seen a bit of progress, but still not enough, seeing the value of what cannabis can bring to our economy, seeing the value of cannabis in terms of diversification of our economy in these tough times. We need to be able to spread out a bit more to get more monies into the country. And cannabis is one of those items that can bring well-needed foreign investment, foreign funds into the country. And the process is very vigorous. And sometimes I could understand why, but parts that we don't understand is why we're not trying to assist and help persons. A lot of the requirements that they need, I doubt if the regular person can just go out and put them together and hand them over. I mean, it's a lot. And to date, there is no cannabis license that has been given, and no idea at all as to when they will be giving out any licenses. And so people have been making plans, and people are being frustrated in terms of understanding what's going on in the industry. I mean, we started a small group of persons, interested persons, and when you look at what cannabis can bring in terms of foreign investment or direct input into St. Kitts in terms of dollars, we were looking at pre-COVID and after COVID, we were looking at like 1 million passengers, 1 million persons visiting St. Kitts on an annual basis. And even if you get a quarter of those persons to spend $100, I mean, that's 25 million US dollars there, close to 67 million EC dollars, right in the hands of farmers. And not only farmers per se, but you have persons who would make shirts or small trinkets that would benefit from this industry. As Mr. Coker says, a trickle-down effect directly into the hands of poor persons who actually need it. And it bothers me the way in which this government handles poor people in this country, because it's only poor people, well, here in St. Kitts, looking to make that sort of investment. And we just kick the can down the road, lie to the people, fool the people over and over and over again. I mean, the process, the last thing you heard was, well, it's the banking system. Is it the banking system in St. Lucia? Is it the banking system in Antigua? Is it the banking system in Jamaica, St. Vincent, America, Canada? All those countries don't have any banking issues, but they're predicting that we're going to have banking issues here. Why? Allow the country to breathe, allow people to survive. Things are very, very, very hard. And it's even harder because of the poor fiscal management of this administration. And so we need to do better. We need to do better. We need to be able to put cannabis on the table, put agriculture in general on the table, diversify our economy, and allow our people the opportunities to survive here in St. Kitts, the land that they call home.
On Saturday last, a candidate stepped forward on WinFM 98.9 and declared his candidacy for number 4. So based on that, whenever the election is called, and there seems to be some kind of energy suggesting it may very well be this year. How does that cause you to change or re-strategize, if at all? You think you'll need to do that? You're probably thinking that you're going up against the Honorable Samuel Duggins, but now you'll be going up against the Honorable Samuel Duggins and Mr. Henry Marsham. So explain that to us, please. And Madam Leader, some time ago, you informed us that you received a letter from a high-ranking officer of PLP suggesting a merger of PAM, PLP, and NRP. If we back up to just about 3-4 years ago, there was indeed a unity between PAM, PLP, and CCM. How surprised were you that NRP was being suggested to be a part of that unity as opposed to CCM? And if elections were called tomorrow, where would you think that you would direct PAM? Do you think you'll enter into PAM alone, or do you think you'll enter into a coalition with any of those parties? And which one, CCM or NRP?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Mills. From a very early age as a child, I've always been a hard worker and a fighter. I have had a desire to serve the people of constituency number 4 and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis by extension. We know our political atmosphere as it is now. As you have asked the political leader the question about coalition or not, there is a possibility that in each constituency we may be facing, as a party, going up against persons, not just one, not just two, and in some possibilities, maybe 3 or 4. And so I will do what I've always done. I will show up and continue to do the work. I have assisted in the past the former representative and candidate for the People's Action Movement, Mr. Lindsey Grant. And I will continue to push forward the PAM message even now. I continue to knock on doors. I continue to speak with the people of constituency number 4. And I will continue to advocate on their behalf as I have been doing. And at the end of the day, I will continue to put myself forward as the best option for the people of constituency number 4 as a member and proud candidate of the People's Action Movement.
Thank you, Mr. Mills, for your question framed in a few parts. I anticipated that question in some way. How surprised I am that people want to join PAM. PAM has been the best thing for this federation. And so, whether it is Labour want to join with PAM, NRP, CCM, PLP, the new party, I don't remember what they're called, people just love PAM. And so, regardless of what some persons may say, when you walk down Port Zante, you see PAM. When you drive over the Southeast Peninsula, you see PAM. When the cruise ships dock, you see PAM. When it's time to register down at the electoral office, because you're now 18 years old and not 21, as Natasha said, you see PAM. When you see the first female parliamentarian, you see PAM. When people go on maternity leave, you see PAM. So, school meal programs, you see PAM. Self-books, okay, PAM has a story, PAM is the history, and PAM is the future. So I'm not surprised if somebody may want to suggest. So Dr. Sean Richards getting full company right now in Parliament because PAM is on their way to Church Street. PAM alone is contesting the election. Just know we want an extra table to add everybody else. Dr. Richards has a virtual seat, so we don't have to squeeze him up. But as you see, the table is getting longer. As I said, from time immemorial, that the People's Action Movement is building its team, and we are contesting this election. Whatever happens after election, I can't see about that right now. I am building my team to make sure that we look after the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, political leader. I'm going to frame this saying. PAM is the history and PAM is the future. I think that really sums up the power of PAM. I mean, we keep saying that all of the foundational developments in St. Kitts started with PAM. Yes. When you're building a house, what do you need to build a house on? Foundation. If the foundation is weak, what happens? Thank you very much. You all are so bright in here. I want to, ma'am, are you going to ask a question? Are you ready to ask your question? Okay, sure, go right ahead then.
Good afternoon to the head table.
Afternoon.
Those in the audience and the viewers. I am Pam and Pam is me. Question, it might be for the head table. Election is near. Campaign is on the rise. How do you feel, or what would you tell, especially the young people you approach? We all know, people may say, PLP have the money, Labour have the money, PAM don't have any money. So when you approach these young people and they say, what can I get? House, money, land, you name it. What are your approach to them? Because this is the future right now. Everybody is holding their hands. What do you have to say to them when you approach them in that question? Thank you.
Political leader, I think I'm going to throw that ball in your court.
Thank you. And I think Mr. Coker took the word out of my mouth. Opportunities. It's not just opportunities for the youth, it's opportunities for the creatives, opportunities for the taximan, opportunities for the farm, opportunities for everyone. We now have a teacher on board, and so we have roots woman. So opportunity for the roots man and the roots woman, whether you're in Keon, whether you're in East Bastia, we don't need to have money to hand out. We just need to create opportunities for a better standard of living for our people, and that is what PAM will offer.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, the easiest saying to answer that question is to teach a man to fish. You wanted to add something, Ms. Daniel? Sure.
Yes, I wanted to add, for money may be important, but if somebody's going to give it to you all the time, they're going to control you. So as an educator, I want to develop the mind. And I always tell my boys, a man should have a skill. And those young men that are on the road, I would love to just take them and let them get a skill, because what I tell them is that the only person who can take that skill from you is God. And you will find yourself in ways that you would not think about it. When I see my boys, and they're in construction, and the TJ say, Miss Daniel, I could tiles, and I could do this and that. What I want is to give them that opportunity to develop themselves, so that they could look after themselves and their families. So we are not here about short term. We are here about long term, because this could take you from point A to point B to point Z. And that is what I plan to do, not money.
If anybody else at the head table has another input in that question, please jump in.
Good afternoon, everyone. Madam Political Leader, and congratulations to my good friend here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What I must say, PAM has history. If you remember when PAM was in government, PAM always created opportunity. That is why during the People's Action Movement time, St. Kitts and Nevis was dubbed the most developed and advanced country in the Caribbean and the Latin America. And we are going to do it again and even better. Because what? We have the technology. We are younger brain, if you want to say, but we have the foundation based on the philosophy of the party. And we have another thing at our exposure. Our only living national hero could we always go back to. And he has some of his team members here, Dame Mitchum, to ask certain questions to continue to guide us. Because according to the scripture, age is wisdom. So we have the wisdom in our party. So I just want the young persons to understand. Be industrious, and that's what PAM is all about. Remember, the People's Action Movement about creating wealth for you and the generations to come. So, that's what PAM going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Pell. I don't want Dr. Richards to get too lonely out there in the virtual world. So I wish to incorporate him. There's a question here that you are, in effect, Mr. AJ, can you put, just make sure he's okay, there you go. There's a question that has to do with your years of experience in politics, and what would you say now to the newest comer to politics in PAM in terms of encouragement? What are some of the pitfalls she should avoid? What are some of the challenges she should expect? How should she prepare for them? How should she brace for them? So we want you to lend some of your wisdom to the new candidate now, Dr. Richards.
Thank you, Laverne, and let me also say a very good evening to all persons who are tuned in to this press conference. I am happy to be part of it, though virtually. I also take the opportunity to extend congratulations and welcome to Ms. Natasha Daniel as the newest candidate for the People's Action Movement, in particular in constituency number 8, a seat that has always given very good and strong support to the People's Action Movement. The history of elective politics would indeed support what I just said. However, at this particular point in time, of course, PAM doesn't have the good fortune of having a representative, an elected representative in that constituency. I have listened to Ms. Daniel. I am quite impressed. She is extremely charismatic. She, through what she has said in terms of her own upbringing in life, I think that she has a grassroots understanding of people, what are the issues which have been plaguing not just the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, but in particular the people of constituency number 8. She has indicated that as a teacher, she has been able to assist a large number of students, and I am certain that those students are quite thankful. As a matter of fact, I can go further than saying I am certain, because being here virtually has also given me the opportunity to be able to tune in on Facebook, and I have been seeing the comments by a number of persons, not only from that particular constituency, but persons who she taught, and they are saying welcome, they are saying she is a good choice, and they're saying a thank you to her for assisting them in terms of their own education. Therefore, she has already established herself as one who likes to help persons. As a matter of fact, she said to refer to her as help. And so I want to encourage her to reach out to all of the persons in that particular constituency. There is nothing more important than touching doors, hearing the concerns of persons, advocating continuously on behalf of the persons in constituency number 8 and the issues affecting them. I would also want to encourage her to build a strong and committed team around her. A team that will relentlessly stay on the ground, connect to people, and knock on the doors. It is a large constituency. She cannot do it alone. She's going to need the hands, the ears, the hearts of other persons in constituency number 8 to assist her. And again, I am convinced that she has the ability to do so. Of course, she's going to encounter many challenges along the way. The first thing I want to say to her in terms of that is, God is able, with God, you're able to overcome all of the challenges. We have an electorate that looks to the politicians for every single need that they have. And that is going to be one of the biggest challenges that she's going to face. Persons expecting every single thing from you. However, you need to sell people a message of hope. Let persons know what it is you want to do for them and you will be able to do for them as the elected representative. We have a saying in PAM, putting people first, teaching people to fish, so that dependency that they have on politicians will come to an end to some extent with you as the representative for constituency number 8. Listen to people. Listen to people. We have heard the complaints about politicians. When it is time for election, they know you. After that, they don't know you. You don't answer your phone. You don't get back to them, etc. Stay connected to the people, because once people genuinely feel that you care about them, in return, they will care about you and they will reward you at the polls on election day. I offer myself to her to give her the best advice that I possibly can. I will be back on the ground shortly, and so I also offer my own services in terms of helping her and her team to canvass constituency number 8. Again, congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. Bat, do you have another question? The microphone is yours.
I want to get an idea from the head table in regards to the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis. I say this because sometimes we think we are making progress, and then we start hearing all kinds of talk in the background coming from certain sectors that make me feel as if we are either standing still, we are not progressing in terms of linking the two islands together, because I think in the Eastern Caribbean, St. Kitts and Nevis has one of the highest potential to really move forward in the next 10 years. But we're not going to do it if political parties are not committed to a proper relationship. What will be the policy of the People's Action Movement if you are able, in the next election, to get into the government?
Mr. Band, can I ask you just to provide a little bit more context to the question? You're talking about what obtains currently. Is your question coming from an observation that things may not be what this appear to be? Because we probably need some more context before we can,
Okay, all right. We need to look at the history of the two islands. And the relationship, the rocky relationship that we have had goes way back into history. And as Black people, unfortunately, we seem to have adopted the same mentality that the white colonialists had developed between these two islands, unfortunately. But this is 2026, and I am saying that we need to turn this kind of topsy-turvy, opportunistic kind of relationship that we have going over the past years between different governments, between different political parties. I don't want to get too specific about any particular issue. I'm talking about a principle that these two islands, our constitution is such that it gives Nevis a Nevis Island administration. We don't have a St. Kitts Island administration. So the government that is in St. Kitts must take on a dual role. One is the role of being a St. Kitts Island administration, and the other role is the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Sometimes they get confused and people begin to argue when, for example, the federal government supplies Nevis with financial support, and the constant phraseology that you will hear is that Nevis taking St. Kitts money. It's a bad thing, really, and I don't think people understand what our political system is really like. And I don't think people understand that the country is St. Kitts and Nevis. Not Nevis, not St. Kitts. There is no country named St. Kitts, no country named Nevis. The country is St. Kitts and Nevis. And if we can't operate as if we are single, then we're going to be having a lot of problems. Right.
Thank you for providing that clarity. Again, I'm going to default to the political leader to respond to that, but just to say before she responds, that it's funny how none of the issues that you pointed to now happened in the 15 years when the NRP and PAM were in coalition. It's interesting. Political leader?
Thank you, Madam PRO, and thank you, Mr. Bat, for your question. Now, I was but a child during the PAM NRP coalition, but I've heard good stories. One of the things that I recognize that when the People's Action Movement is in office, you don't hear the lot of chatter. You don't hear the lot of chatter about Nevis not being taken care of. So I think the People's Action Movement has earned the respect and trust of all the political parties in Nevis. And I think that is what will make the difference. One of the things that we also have to look at, as you just said, in terms of whether it is one party or the other in charge of the NIA, the federal government must make sure that there is meaningful relations between St. Kitts and Nevis, regardless. And so there must be a policy somewhere along the line where we meet, whether it is biannually or quarterly, so in terms of cabinet, both cabinets, so that we can align certain things in relation to health, infrastructure, the education policies, so that St. Kitts and Nevis operates as one, not St. Kitts doing one thing, Nevis doing another thing in respect of certain industries. We must be able to put ourselves forward as a country to say, in health, this is what we have accomplished. In infrastructure, this is what we have accomplished as one country, St. Kitts and Nevis. And I think PAM will be able to establish that level of respect and trust. We can also create a secretariat that deals with St. Kitts and Nevis matters, so that we know that what is happening on one island is happening on the other, and so that there is synergy between the islands. And PAM will bring that synergy, not just for the political parties, because we are not looking at the political parties, we are looking at the man in Bastille, the man in Charlestown. PAM will bring that synergy that will enhance and improve the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis. And I look forward to the day when I can journey around over to Nevis and we are able to come together on certain topics. We can even make sure that we cut costs when it comes to certain things because we join together as two islands, one federation. And so I look forward to that great day when St. Kitts and Nevis is truly one under PAM.
Can I just pick up something from the political leader? Remember, the Constitution was between the NRP and PAM. And the Constitution, I think what's the problem is a lot of persons do not really understand the Constitution. Because the Constitution lays out the relationship. And as the political leader say, PAM, and put it this way, St. Kitts and Nevis always enjoy a good relationship in the People's Action Movement. Some way or other is in government. We do not have this talk. Remember, the only time Nevis said they wanted secession was when? Right. So what I'm saying is that PAM even proposed building a what? A bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is still an option for us. Because you know what? It will increase the economic viability between the islands. And then we will have a true federation. It might sound strange, but even if you look at the UK, do you know England itself do not have a government structure for itself? It have municipal throughout England. But Scotland has its own, Northern Ireland has its own, and Wales has its own. But they still function, Trinidad and Tobago and so on. So what I'm saying is that I think it's based on the people, but PAM always make sure the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, hear what I said? St. Kitts and Nevis benefit. Yes, both administrations have their own, but when a law is passed in the federal parliament, you have persons from Nevis in the federal government because parliament is a part of government. You have three main branches of government. You have the legislature, you have the judiciary, and you have what? Right. You have the executive. And therefore, anybody from Nevis that in the federal parliament is a part of the federal government. Because they pass laws, and any law passed federally is a law throughout St. Kitts and Nevis unless it's specified. It is for Sandy Point, it is for Charleston, or anywhere in Nevis. But when the Nevis Island administration thing, it's just for Nevis. So I just wanted us to realize it is a problem where persons do not really study the Constitution or even read it. But People's Action Movement, because they were part of the framing and framers of it, understand. However, for history as well, PAM is the only party back then would have field candidate in Nevis, in St. Kitts, and in Guala that time. So you see PAM always, whatever the union is, look out for the interests of whatever union. So I just wanted to say that, and we're going to continue doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Pell. Before we go to, because I've just asked the political leader, well, we're going to wrap up in a little while. Before we go to Mr. Mills, I want Troy at the end of the head table to think of this question, how there could be some sort of collaboration with Natasha as somebody who has been trained at the tertiary level in agriculture, and he being a farmer, how there could be some collaboration if and when we make it to government headquarters. So I said if and when. The two things go together. So Mr. Biff, Mr. Troy, share your question now, please.
Thank you. Madam Lavon. I am the sports journalist for WinFM 98.9. As of the last few months, I've had the privilege, pleasure, and honor of hosting Island Tea, which is a program daily, I should say weekly, from 8 to 10, and also Voices from 10 to 12. So I find myself in a unique position because I give out my number. Anybody can call me anytime, and I answer. And, well, maybe the politicians should learn to do that, according to what the Honorable Sean said. I find myself in a position where I'm getting all kind of calls and texts about situations. One situation is the discontinuing of the social services, the $500 for PAP. And some persons have been saying they understood, rightfully or wrongfully, that instead of 500, it would have been increased to 1,500. But then it was only given $250 for 6 months. And the roof program as well. So is it, if you were to get into, or when you are to get into government, how would you address that? Could persons look for the reintroduction of that 500 PAP service and the roof service? And secondly, I don't know who will be the Minister of Sports, but we've had a situation where our national under-16 netball team, they have been training since January, from the information I've received, and they were told, they got the impression that the government would fund them for participation in a tournament in Trinidad and Tobago a few weeks ago. However, when they knocked on the door, we're here. I understand the budget was like 50-something thousand, and these competitions are not really cheap, but they were only given $10,000. Persons have been complaining about the states of the lawn tennis courts around the island, especially in Sandy Point. As a matter of fact, there was a tennis club in Sandy Point, Top Spinners, I think it was. Forgive me, not Sandy Point. SP where the best be, Hub City, hub. But it discontinued because of the state of disrepair of the court. So what would be your approach to sporting facilities? And we remember back in 1993, under the then Prime Minister, 93, as I said, Honorable Kennedy Simmons, where a lot of these courts, football courts, cricket courts, were built around the island, and the comment was made, nobody needs courts, they need food on the table. But now we are seeing the benefits because of the advancement of our sportsmen and women. So what are we going to do to support the sporting industry, national associations, and the athletes? And readily come to mind, Mikael Lewis, our first male player, and Jazara Claxton. And where is she from again? Oh, SP were the best be. Oh, okay, man. So what are we going to do to convince our sportsmen and sportswomen that we really have their best interest at heart? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Because former Minister of Government, our Dr. Richards, was part of the unity government when some of those social service benefits were given out. In fact, I have been hearing that it was Dr. Richards' idea to start one of those programs in the COVID era. And I guess it's something that he never truly took credit for because, you know, when you operate in a government, you don't need to shout all the things that you do, like what we see happening now. So I want to bring in Dr. Richards to answer the question about the social services benefits and what perhaps maybe, this government, the PAM government can do with respect to some of the social services benefits that we saw in a previous iteration of government with PAM. So, Dr. Richards, do you want to?
And accept that this government has mismanaged the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is the stark reality. Dr. Joe, as a Minister of Finance, has done a poor job in terms of managing the finances of St. Kitts and Nevis. The government is bankrupt. And the sooner that persons recognize this, the better it is for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The better it would be because it would also indicate to them that it is time for a government of the People's Action Movement, which has consistently demonstrated that economically we do better when PAM is in government.
This government...
Yes. So the government is broke. The government is bankrupt. Well, the question...
PAM government can do.
Social services. Before I basically got to that, Let me ask persons to look at the capital projects promised by this administration. Have you seen any of them being implemented? In December, we were told that we're going to see the start of the construction of the smart hospital. You go there, the only thing constructed there is one big billboard, nothing else. Bastia High School, the very same thing. I've understood from sources within government that the government had received some monies to start the smart hospital, but things are so bad with the government that the monies had to be used to do other things. If you speak to certain investors out there, they're saying to you that the government has reached out to them to try and raise capital through the CBI program for the Bastia High School, because apart from the 27 million EC is spent for that school as mobilization, the government doesn't have the money to do so. A school budgeted at $270 million. A government has a responsibility for helping in times like this to stimulate the economy. And there are several ways a government can do so. You can do it as a government through fiscal policy. And when you begin to look at fiscal policy, the government start to invest in infrastructure. You invest in providing public services. You invest in jobs. You provide tax cuts for businesses and individuals. You do the transfer of payments to persons. And one of the things in which you do transfer of payments, of course, that would be programs like the PAP. You give persons that sort of money because you not only want to help them, but you recognize that economically things are bad, you want to stimulate the economy. And so the PAP had several different aspects to it, one of which would have been to help the elderly, to help the most vulnerable amongst us, the poor. And you saw a difference because of that. The economy was growing. And so as a government, this is a program that, of course, we will have to look at and to see how best we can reinstate it, taking into consideration the financial situation that we are going to inherit. But I am confident that we will rebuild the economy. And so as we rebuild the economy, we will be able to give more and more support in terms of social services programs, such as the PAP, such as a roofing program that we did to help more persons. It is foolish of any government that when you have economic hardship, your biggest capital project, and perhaps the largest capital project that I have known of in terms of a government, a school that you have budgeted and given a contract for $270 million for, and you take the contract and you give it to a company in Barbados to build a prefabricated school. When you begin to look at your steelmen, the steel already there as part of the prefab. A lot of the electrical wiring, because it's prefab, a lot of the pipes, etc., already there. TDC has funds. The other concrete companies will not benefit from the purchase of concrete. And so when you look at many aspects of that construction, the majority of that $270 million will not be spent in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And only a prime minister such as Joe, which doesn't understand finance, would do something like that. You need to stimulate your local economy. So you build the school through local contractors. Let the $270 million, if you're able to raise it, help to stimulate the local economy, provide jobs for persons, ensure that your local companies benefit the most from this particular project. And at the end of it, yes, you have a school to give to the children. But what we are suffering from now is poor fiscal management under the Labor administration. And that is why we need to get rid of this administration and vote for the candidates of the People's Action Movement. As I said, when you look at the history of St. Kitts and Nevis, and you look at the times when the economy has grown the largest, you had the People's Action Movement in government. That is what we need to return to. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Richards. Those are undisputed and undisputable facts. Certainly, most certainly. This country thrives economically when a People's Action Movement is in government. We can't dispute that. We've seen it. We've lived through it. Now, Mr. Troy, we're going to ask candidate Greer to address the questions about the netballers who were left out to sea, to fend for themselves. Did they ever get to Trinidad? No, they didn't get to Trinidad. As well as to address the crumbling sporting infrastructure all across St. Kitts and Nevis. Mr. Greer. And when Mr. Greer is through, I will allow Troy to address the question about possible collaboration in government with Ms. Daniel in agriculture.
Yes. Firstly, before I even answer the question, I would want to congratulate my Garden Hotspurs Football Club that is now in the in the Premier League. So the football season 2026-2027, the Garden Hotspurs have worked hard. I want to congratulate the executive and the community and the football club for its tireless work throughout the past 2 years to get us back to the Premier League. Now, it's funny that you would ask that question. I would want to answer it holistically because the track and field athletes, the football clubs, the tennis clubs, all the different sporting areas are suffering from that lack of attention. And so it's not only the netballers, and we would want to address it in a meaningful way. I mean, we have spent hours discussing as an executive what sports can do for our people, what sports can mean for our young people and our children, and the ways in which we can make sports an option for progress, the opportunity to be someone, the opportunity to realize your passion at the end of the day. And this is something that we have discussed at length. We have discussed building a sports academy where our youths can go at a very early age. I mean, this is something that has been proven and done, and we have seen the results around the world where you get your children involved in sports early. And I mean, if they're not so much academically inclined, you leave them there, and they could, at age 18, they are professional athletes in whatever discipline. I mean, in China, they start recruiting them as early as the age of 3. And we can start doing that here to make sure it ain't everybody want to be a doctor, it ain't everybody want to be a lawyer, an engineer, an Indian or a chief, but they have those young folks who are good with their hands and good with their feet. They could run fast, they could play. I mean, when you look at what our footballers do as a hobby, because that is what it is for them at this point in time, as a hobby, they have natural, God-given talent. And we go out and compete on an international stage, and we don't come last. So what if we get our kids involved, let's say at the age of 13, at the age 18, what they would look like, what our football product look like in St. Kitts after 5 years in an institution. And as I say, equally so for basketball, cricket, track and field, and different disciplines. And we could make professionals out of our young children and setting them up to face a very tough future that is out there, but they'll be in a better standing. And these are the conversations that we are ready to implement once we take government, whenever the Prime Minister calls the election, because our children need the attention, our children need the help, no more than ever, you know? And so these are things that we have discussed, we have seen it, and we know exactly what to do to put our children in that position to come first, and come first every time. Just before I finish, I just want to add something to what Dr. Richards said, because I'm a contractor, I'm an electrical engineer, and the more your government go and export our capital projects overseas, all the 2,400 smart home project was shipped out to Trinidad. The Basta High School, the next capital project, shipped out to Barbados. And as Dr. Richards said, we don't produce any raw materials here. And once you're going to export the labor, then nothing is left here. And then you come and say you have a job fair. A job fair is to basically hire laborers, a few helping hand around the project, because that contract was given out to some other company. When with our people here in St. Kitts, our contractors, our engineers, our architects, be able to get those contracts, and so that that money circulates and spins within our economy. It's an atrocity. It is a real atrocity that is being committed here on our service providers. And we need to do better. And PAM, under PAM administration, that will never, ever happen. We would involve our engineers and our architects in the initial stage, and after, our contractors. As I said, we don't make any raw materials here. We don't build materials here. So the only part that could stay here is the labor aspect of it, and our people will benefit 100% from that come next election.
Thank you. Mr. Flanders?
Good evening, all. Ms. Daniel, congratulations on joining the team. And if you look at this team, as you speak about agriculture, we have 2 farmers. Or 3. Ms. Daniel is dabbling in farming also. You see? So I could say to the farmers right now that take a good look at the People's Action Movement. Farming, agriculture will be in good hands. I could tell you that. As you speak about collaboration, Ms. Daniel have a daily thing that she just put in the chat, the farmers chat, and tell us, oh, farmers, it will be good weather today. I look out for the rain. And so, you know, that's what Ms. Daniel, every day. I look forward to that. But collaboration is something we do every day. Me and Ms. Daniel go way back. We talk a lot about agriculture. We actually used to get seedlings from her, but she not giving me none now. As we go on, and I'm glad for this opportunity to speak, because Mr. Griot, the man for number 2, in constituency number 2, there is no other choice but Mr. Nubian Griot for the People's Action Movement. No other choice. And as you were speaking about sporting facilities, I would like everybody to join to constituency number 6. I was going to Deep Bay, and I see some young people in Parsons playing on the basketball court, and I feel so good to see the youths utilizing the court. When I got closer, I realized they were playing football on the basketball court, because there's no ring on the basketball court. I said, well, maybe passing ground, they'll fix it. I go to Deep Bay, it's similar. And you go on to Newton Ground. And if it's wanting, the people of Newton Ground always say, we need our playing facility fixed and upgrade, fence. Every election for the past, as long as I know, that was the cry of the people in Newton Ground. The playing facility in Saddlers was built in the 1990s. They're still waiting for it to complete. And could you imagine that they have had a representative for the last 36 years? And that representative being the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance. Can you imagine the people of constituency 60, I must say the water carrier of labor, they get it less from labor. When labor is at the weakest, they go down to St. Paul's to gather strength. But when they have anything to share, they come down to constituency 6 last, if anything left. So the people of constituency 6 is your choice to make. Do you want to continue to be afterthoughts by labor? or you want to be progressive like any other constituency. There is no difference between constituency 1 and constituency 6, constituency 5 and constituency 6. We are all Kittitians and Nevisians. We are one people, and we should be treated equally, not forgotten. Labour Party is the problem, as the guy asks about the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis. Look how far we come from a one-word manifesto secession. We get independence, and we stick together because it was the People's Action Movement, the glue that holds the federation together. Labour is the problem, and the more Kittitians realize that the problem that we face every day is labour. When your pocket weak, it's because of Labour poor physical policies that is not giving us the opportunities to grow. Think about the administration that declared war on its people. The Labour Party has declared war on its people. That is the reason why, Mr. Griot, they could ship the school overseas, because they declare war on their people. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis is not good enough for Labour. Only thing Labour want from the people is a vote to stay in power. You think about under the People's Action Movement, if those people was chased from the beach, what Labour ain't gonna be saying? It's our people. Let the administration work for its people, and that is what the People's Action Movement is about. You see what we start with? P is for what? People. We put people first. We believe in people. And that's the difference between a PAM and any other party. We think about people. It's all about people. When you think about early childhood, in a time when I was growing up, somebody got to stay who hold me, some old person go hold me when my mother going to work. And you talk about early childhood. Every child could go now and get proper care. That is because of that, the People's Action Movement. You're talking about visionary leadership. That's what we have here. That's why I could say, and I'll repeat it, agriculture will be in good hands. Food security is a must. And under the People's Action Movement, could you imagine that people in Kayan was threatened with bulldozer to come off of farmlands by this Labour administration? And who is the representative for constituency number 8? Could you imagine that your prime minister is threatening you with bulldozer to move you off a land? And then the government take it upon itself to have 100 acres of land available for themselves, but can't find land for farmers. And the government directly competing with farmers. That cannot happen under People's Action Movement watch. It will never happen. Because I know Tasha won't let it happen. Nobody ain't gonna let it happen. And you know, no time. Those lands over Kayan, I will tell you this, political leader soon to be next prime minister, because Pam will win the next election and Shani will be prime minister. Come hell or high water, we got to make it happen. We have to make it happen. We got to make it happen. This nation is crying and it needs a female touch. That's what it needs to stable it. The bosom of a mama. To stable this country. We know that Joe has failed. So we're going to pass Joe. Natasha have the job to do. Make Joe one term. Make him one term. History. And I'm saying this before I wrap up. Natasha, thank you for answering the call. And I know you will do well for the people of constituency number 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flanders. Regrettably, we are out of time. And so we will now ask the political leader to bring some closing remarks and give us a charge before we leave this room, because we now need to start to rally and rally hard for PAM. the next Natasha wants to say something, so I'll give you 90 seconds.
Yes, I just want to apologize to the other constituents, Keys, Atleys, Connery, Monkhill. I did not ignore you. The questions by Mr. Bat was on Keon. So don't think that you're out. I am going to deal and see with everybody. So I just want to say that there are two teams in number 8, St. Peter's, and our Keon Rockets Nobody. And I live here, attending the Green Valley 30th opening ceremony. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam PRO. I am so elated. Today was not just about a name on a ballot. Today was about building St. Kitts and Nevis by each constituency. Sometimes people may have thought that I am talking just because I could talk. I always used to start to count from number 8. That you come from 8 and everybody can come to number 1. And so I am glad that Natasha starting in 8, and then we can end with another Natasha in number 1. Natasha Daniel understands the struggle. She understands the people of constituency number 8, all communities. And I am glad that she is somebody who belongs, based on what she has said and based on what I have heard, not just to constituency number 8, she's going to have a ripple effect in all other constituencies. So constituency number 6, all those students who went to Sadler's, I think she said she went down in Sandy Point as well, Dr. Richards. So she, sorry? 3 weeks in Sandy Point, but I think those 3 weeks did wonders. Natasha is a woman, not just for number 8, but for the whole St. Kitts and Nevis. She's shaping the minds of our country. I am glad that she's on my team. I am glad that she's going to bring the People's Action Movement to victory. I am glad that she's going to be part of the People First agenda. One roots woman, an army roots men. We're rooting for everybody in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I feel the strength of St. Kitts and Nevis coming to fruition. I am so elated because I can see the single mothers getting opportunities. I can see the youth getting opportunities. I can see the farmers getting opportunities. Food security, everything is going to be better with Natasha. As Troy said, we need a mother's touch. And so what better Mother's Day gift we can give to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis but Natasha? And so I wish all mothers, not just in constituency number 8, but in the entire federation, happy Mother's Day in advance. It's Natasha Squared and the PAM team coming to work for you, and so we look forward to making your days better and brighter because we always put people first. Thank you.
Thank you, political leader, and thank you for your rapt attention at this evening's media conference. We had over 500 people on YouTube at one point, and certainly as time goes by, people are going to, somebody say maybe it's 700? Okay, I know it's going to reach probably 7,000 because there was excitement in the air from the time we started to circulate the information. So I think that PAM is alive and well. I believe that, and I'm convinced that the road to PAM's victory, like the political leader just said, runs through number 8. So let's all begin to mobilize now. We need to just mobilize, do what only PAM people can do. Listen to the people, give them hope until we could deliver for them. Thank you so much for attending this evening. God bless you. Stay safe, and we'll see you again at the next press conference. Have a good evening, everybody.
We love to serve our country that God has blessed so well. In peace and love and happiness, we will forever dwell. We ask for God's protection and guidance on our way. The People's Action Movement will strive from day to day. The People's Action Movement is here and here to stay. To serve our country that God has blessed so well. In peace and love and happiness, we will forever dwell. We ask for God's protection and guidance on our way. The People's Action Movement strive from day to day. The People's Action